All right, you guys. My regular subscribers have been watching my channel for a couple of years will know that I've got a Kenworth, a 68 Kenworth W92. It's a narrow nose truck. And so what I've got here is I've got an 03 Freightliner Airliner cutoff. And I was given this cutoff, so I don't have anything in it. The suspension that's under that truck right now is an 8-bag Kenworth system, which, you know, a lot of people have said it's not the best suspension in the world. And these airliners are, it's a pretty good setup. A lot of people like them. They put them in a ton of trucks. So anyway, and also that 8-bag Kenworth system's got the old Bud hubs on it. And these are hub pilots here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and instead of welding this cutoff on the truck, because the truck is already the length I like, so what we're going to do is we're going to take and cut these brackets and hangers off of here, and we're going to cut the 8-bag system off of the frame, and then we're going to put this airliner setup on the back of the frame. So what I've done is I've went through and I've cleaned all the threads off and put PB blasts on them. I've caged all the brakes, so that gets the parking brake off. You guys that don't mess with big trucks, the emergency brake, when you take the air off of it, it sets the emergency brake. So you have to put air on it to take the emergency brake and release it. Well, when there's no air hook to it, if you'll take these caging bolts right here, they look like this right here. And there's this shape inside of the front of the brake chamber here. And you hook it up in there and you tighten this nut down, and it releases the brake. So it'll pull, this lever right here is normally back here when the brake's applied. So it'll pull this lever forwards and pull the brake shoes off the drum. Like if you look in here, you can see the brake shoes pulled off the drum here. And I did this because I need to rotate this rear yoke here, pull these caps off and pop the universal joints out of both these rears, because I'm going to take these rear end housings completely off, take these springs off, do the bushings in them, and do the bushings in these I don't know, they call them a panhard bar on a car. I don't know what they call them on a big truck, but these bars here, I'll take them off and I'll rebush them, and that way the suspension will be stiff and all again. And then I'll replace the airbags, and that way the suspension will all be new, and I'll put new shocks on it and everything. So we've got this thing ready, about ready to take apart. And then once we get the rear ends and the suspension pieces off of it, then we'll have to cut these huck bolts off right here and torch them off so we can get these brackets off of there. So we're gonna get to work on this and see how much we can get done, and go from there. But that way we'll upgrade the rear of that 68 to a modern truck. I've got a 2022 front axle, steer axle, that's also hub piloted, so we'll put that on the front. We're going to put reman diffs in it, so that'll be all new, and a reman 18 speed, 18, 918B 18 speed. And then we're going to build a Cat C15 6NZ serial number, and that will give us a whole fresh drive line on that old truck. So we're going to get started on this cutoff and get the rear suspension ready to go to start with, and then we'll work from there. All right, so we got the locks off of both yoke sides of the rear drive shaft, and we've got this little press tool here, and what it'll do is it'll press that and press that joint out. So let's see, but it's pushing that cap off on the bottom down there. So hang on, I'll show you. All right, so see, it's almost pushed out now. So we'll push that side out, and then we'll turn the rear end around, and we'll get the other side pointed up, and we'll push it out, and then we can thread that thing out of there. And then we'll have to do the same thing on this side right here, but this side's gonna be a little tougher because we'll have to turn it around to get to the angle, because that press won't fit between here. All right, so you see we got this one out. This one on the back is being a little more aggravating, but once we thread this out of there, we'll probably have some more room to work with the one in the rear. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so we got the rear drive shaft out, not without a bunch of problems. That's stuck in there pretty good. All right, so we got these U-bolt nuts loose. We've hit these one time with the big 3/4 drive and a bar. I need to hit it just a little bit more, and then loosen them up, and then we can run them all off with impact. And then it's just a matter of getting these 2 bolts in the front out, and the airbag mount off the back, and all these half leafs or whatever you want to call them will come off. Oh, and shock, and all the half leafs or whatever you want to call them in the back will come off. And then I guess we get the brake chambers off and power divider airline, and that's pretty much all that's holding them rears in this frame. So we'll work on doing that, and then we'll get the torch out and get all this pine straw out of here, and start cutting these hook bolts loose. So it's been a chore already, but we'll get it. It's just aggravating, but we'll get it. All right. All right. That's one down, 3 to go. So there it is. And we just left the shock on there. We'll unbolt it. It'll be easier to get it off down here, because it's not, you can get an impact on one side, whereas up here you couldn't have got an impact on one side of it because the differential housing's in the way. So, but yeah, so get the other springs off, and then them bars in the top and the air lines, and these whole rear ends will be ready to come out. And then we'll get to working on cutting these hangers off. So those are the bars that's got to come off the top side, and that'll be all. So we'll finish working on that and clean all this pine straw out, and then we can get the torch out and get on torching these hook bolts. I dread that part, but it's got to happen. We got let's see, 2 hooks on the spring on the airbag mounts, 6 bolts on the front hanger, 2 on the shock mount. So that's 4, 10, and looks like 6 on the bump stop. Well, actually, there's only 3 on the bump stops. The rest of them's cross member bolts. But oh, wait a minute, no, those are your panhard bar mounts. So yeah, that's 16 per side. 32, 64 huck bolts we got to cut off of here. But yeah, I guess what it is. So y'all stay tuned. I'll show you as we get more done. Thanks.